young people of India.
Yeah.
So कैसे क्या कहेंगे, कैसे सेलिब्रेट करेंगे आज की इस मीट को, आज के इस सेशन को, जहाँ पर कई सवाल थे सबके मन में?
देखिए, I believe that in politics
Yeah.
you must listen to people and you must engage with people. So a young man was asking questions on behalf of other young people. They were frank questions, sometimes they were provocative questions, but it was important, I think, through the answers to signal that our minds are open to what they have to say, we are listening to them, we're hearing them. See, ultimately, politics is about the good of the country. And this is now an increasing segment of our population. These young people, as I pointed out, will be the largest single voting bloc in 2029. It's also in our political interest to listen to what they care about, what they want. So I'm very much inclined to talk to them. Even Jantar Mantar, I went there only to listen. I made no bhashan at Jantar Mantar. I was just listening to what they have to say. We have to hear. That's a very important message for all politicians.
Dr. Tharoor, you spoke about, a lot of the discussion centered around what the RSS chief also mentioned yesterday. And you
That
said,
was the beginning of the conversation.
yes, and you said that perhaps there's winds of change, and but I also pointed
I'm not
out,
granting a certificate. I'm not
But-
anyone
but
to
you
do that.
also pointed
But
out-
some of the statements that have been made are very different from what used to be said before.
but you also said that there is, that your party also perhaps failed to sort of wake up and smell the coffee and couldn't channel that frustration of the young
That
people.
you're mixing up two
towards-
different parts of the conversation there. So the first was indeed about whether the kinds of things we've heard from Guru Golwalkar and so on are not the kinds of things we're hearing from Mr. Bhagwat. So that's a signal of some sort of change. But when it comes to the other question of political parties needing to wake up and smell the coffee, I was referring specifically to the fact that this movement that started off as a satirical movement on social media was able to galvanize such a response that we ourselves could learn lessons from it, because all of us had no party, BJP, Congress, anybody else, had got that kind of ignited enthusiasm that we saw in Jantar Mantar and the various other gatherings around the country.
And just to follow up on that, do you feel that the Congress used to be the liberal centrist space at one point of time? Do you feel the Congress has given up on that space, which
Not
is why
at all.
perhaps there is a
No,
lack
I
of
think
liberal centrist?
There is room for further discussion regarding that. I'm certainly an advocate of a more liberal centrist approach in the Congress, and within the Congress there are people of other preferences. And there will be discussions, and ultimately the party will have to decide how it wants to go. But the closest thing we have to a liberal centrist party in India is still the Congress. So you have to see where are the bulk of your convictions finding a safe home, and to my mind it's still very much the Congress.
So you have
Yesterday, you mentioned what Mohan Bhagwat sir said. Additionally, do you think that this is an attempt that, especially after the protests at Jantar?
Well, I think the party in power certainly got a pretty rude wake-up call. And as you know, this is a party that has never allowed a minister to resign because of anyone's protest so far. And indeed, the young negotiators for the Cockroach Janata Party said the first time they went and asked for the resignation, they were told the issue was off the table, that the government is not even going to discuss resignation. Yet within a few days, that was the thing they gave. So it was a symbolic victory, because the issues that people are unhappy about go way beyond one person's resignation. It can't be solved by just knocking one head off. There is a far, far bigger problem. As I said, in Parliament, the system is broken and we must fix it. So there is something much larger at stake. But I think what's important to realize that we have seen the winds shifting in our country today. We've seen not only the cockroach protests and the resignation of a minister and a bill being passed in some haste because of all of this, but we are also seeing now two by-elections, one by people, in the case of Prashant Kishore winning a very safe BJP seat that they won for over 3 decades. 9 times they won that seat, they've now lost it. And Congress holding on to a seat in Madhya Pradesh, Datia, these are both Hindi heartland states. These are supposed to be the bastions where the BJP keeps improving its result. Suddenly you're seeing people from across the mainstream of North Indian, Hindi-speaking, Hindu majority India are saying maybe the BJP is no longer answering our aspirations. So this is where other parties should also rise up and see how we can meet the aspirations of the voters. And I believe there is a good chance. We fortunately have in our system these different elections at different times. Already next March, there'll be a few states coming into play where the Congress can be very much capable of winning those states. And I've talked about this, Punjab, Himachal, Uttarakhand, all of these are winnable for the Congress. And I think if we manage to actually win states we are not currently in power in, it will change the narrative across India as to what the political possibilities are, and that will be good for our democracy. We need to see more winds of change, more prospects for a new kind of politics and new kind of results in our country.
Jharkhand is also witnessing some protests, and Abhijit Dipke, who is leading the CJP movement, is not planning to go there. The delegation will definitely go, but do you think that that will make a little difference?
Look, I don't want to get into that level of detail because honestly I don't speak for either Gen Z or for Mr. Dipke or for his movement or anything else. I'm just speaking as an ordinary MP in the Indian Parliament who is concerned about the political direction of our country and wants to see at the same time that we are responding to the needs of the majority of our young people for meaningful change that will improve their life prospects. That is my message.
Also, you have
राजनीति हो या क्रिकेट, देश विदेश की ब्रेकिंग हो या आपके मोहल्ले की बड़ी खबर, सब मिलेगा एक ही ऐप में, सबसे तेज और भरोसेमंद। अभी डाउनलोड करें दैनिक भास्कर डिजिटल।